Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Shooting the with Yankee. As always, I'm Yankee, so let's start shooting. Tonight I want to ask a question regarding Glocks. You know, a lot of people carry Glocks, but one thing a lot of people say is Glocks are great as long as you change the sights or as long as you change the trigger or in some cases even change the grip angle. I was just informed tonight. So I want to know from those of you out there who maybe carry a Glock or would consider carrying a Glock, what do you think is something that you need to change? You need to change it for it to be a better carry gun, or do you think it's perfect the way it is? Let me know. I will be reading your comments here in just a minute. I will weigh in at the end tonight. I don't want to influence anybody's opinion because you can weigh in right up until I say that's it for us tonight. And then we move on to do the America Guns and Freedom podcast. So feel free to weigh in right up until the end. And I will give my opinion at the end. Once I give my opinion, we're pretty much done. Before I get over here and start reading what people have said, I want to remind everyone, if you want to support the channel, please go over to my website, TYMPpistolproject.com, where I got confused with something someone was asking me a minute ago. TYMPpistolproject.com. It's linked in the upper corner. Just use the link. You can go over there. You can buy merchandise like the Waddle shirt, Werewolf Anti-Defamation League. If you ain't got this shirt yet, get it before Halloween so you don't get eaten by werewolves. There's other werewolf and Halloween related stuff over there too. There's a whole Halloween section. Ain't no one really buying anything from it, but it's there. Also, you can become a Patreon member, Subscribe Star member over there. You can donate through PayPal if you just want to do a one-time donation. You can also nominate people for TYMPPP, or you can nominate yourself for TYMPPP, and you can nominate other people for Handguns for Heroes over there. So go on over to my website. You can do whatever from over there. With that being said, let's go see what people got to say here. I didn't really make that very fluid or smooth, did I, when I did that? Let's see here. John M. Mandrick said, honestly, my Glock 43 didn't need any changes. So he's part of the good to go the way they are group. Danny Pennant said, please don't change your Glocks. Why not? I change all mine. Every one I've got's got something changed. Some of them have got changed triggers. Some of them, all of them have got changed sights. I never leave the plastic sights on there. I don't like those little gold post sights. So all of them have that. Like that one, the one I'm looking at right now, the Glock 19 has the TFOs on it, and they are freaking awesome. I'll tell you that right now. Mikey D said nothing. If you're changing sights, trigger, yada, yada, just buy a more expensive gun. It should be up close. No reason to give money away. Mr. 360 PD. I say carry the best gun you can carry. I don't care how much you lose. If you're still alive at the end, I don't think the money matters as much as still being alive. Colin Hepburn, but I guess he don't change nothing. Leave the way it is, but they're not cheap the way they are. But sights I can see. Now I understand not wanting to put a lot of money into a trigger. I agree with that. If you're going to put a lot of money into your Glock trigger, just buy a better gun, because even putting $200 extra into a Glock is going to take your trigger on a scale from 1 to 10, from a 3 to like a 3.5. It ain't going to make it like a 7. So it's kind of a waste of money, in my opinion. Colin Hepburn said nothing, maybe red dot or sights. If you have to change something on your carry gun, you should reconsider that as a carry gun, which is why I say a lot of people should reconsider Glocks. I'm not a big fan of Glocks as carry guns, mainly because they're striker fired, but also they have shitty ass fucking triggers and shitty sights, and the grip angle's weird. So that's why I don't really consider Glocks carry guns. I consider Glocks utility guns. Like if you got like an extra gun in your car for backup or something like that, I like them for that. I do like them for that, but I don't really like, I wouldn't carry them on me daily because, like I said, striker fired, too much chance of an NB. I'm not interested in having an NB. I've had them. I don't want no more. Didn't like it. So wasn't for me. Let's just say that. Fire Goozy says you need to change the mag capacity on the slimline Glocks to make it a good carry gun. They should be more like S15 mags from the factory. Okay, I've never thought about that. So That's not been one of my concerns, but there's an opinion right there. Go Shadow. Of course, if you're carrying a little small, capacity, low capacity gun, I mean, you probably want as much as you can. But one of the things I wonder sometimes is if when you get guns that are the same size, but one has a single stack and one has one of them staggered stack magazines, but doesn't really affect the size of the gun, does it affect reliability? Are those stagger stacked magazines as reliable as a single stack? That's something I would want to take into consideration. Go Shadow said to fix Glock, sell the Glock, and buy a 92 or 92 clone. There are several to choose from. There sure are. And 92s, you can find 92, especially used, pretty damn cheap. As cheap as a Glock. So that's a point right there. Andrew Avila says, if changing parts is required to carry it, it's not perfect. Carry a 1911. Well, it isn't perfect. Glocks aren't perfect. That's marketing. I mean, for something that's supposedly perfect, it has a very shitty trigger at a weird grip angle. But so it ain't perfect. But I mean, I guess it's whether is it good enough is the thing, or do you need to change something? And I changed stuff on 1911s too. I used to change the sights on those. Even my old, officer model, which is an older Colt 1911, it doesn't have the traditional sights on it. I put beefier sights on it because the old style little thin ones have a habit of breaking and bending, and I don't want that. So those ain't perfect either. Edgar Cortez said, better sights. I put tritium night sights on my Glock 26. Yes, I like night sights better. I either like the ones like the high-vis ones with the bright colors around them, or I like the TFOs, best of both worlds. The only problem with the TFOs is they're a little long. You know, that front sight is that long. So if you only got room for a sight that big, you can't use them, but otherwise I like them. Someone's that's a question for later. Let me answer that later. Let me get back to the questions here. I'm confused. Mark L says, I've multiple Glocks that have nothing changed. Well, that doesn't mean they're perfect. And that doesn't mean you're carrying them. I don't think you're carrying multiple Glocks. Do you change the ones you carry, or any that would you carry? Do you carry the ones you got that aren't changed? Yeah. See, like you're avoiding the question. Paul B said, have daggers, must change trigger, Apex. I found the dagger trigger to be every bit as good as the Glock trigger. I'm just not impressed with either one, to be honest. So yeah, I would change the trigger. If I was carrying a dagger, I'd change the trigger. And it doesn't got to be expensive. We'll just go and get like, an $80, $90 trigger. It's still going to be better than the factory one. It ain't going to be great, but sorry, I meant Glocks. DST is hard. What the fuck is DST? I don't know what DST is. Now I'm confused. Now he and I are both confused because I don't know what's going on. Homesteading with Soulless Ginger weighed in, says, I carry a G21 Gen 3. It was a LEO trade-in, so it came with night sights. That said, I need new sights, and that's all it needs. Most people do agree they need to change sights. They hate the cheap plastic sights from the factory. And Glock, even when I remember reading an interview once where he said, we stick with the cheap plastic sights because everybody's going to change them anyway, because everybody has different preferences for sights. So they expect everyone to change the sights. That's why they use such cheap, nasty sights. At least that was their take on it. That was their excuse for why they use such bad sights, because people are going to throw them away anyway. We can produce the gun cheaper with the throwaway sights. So I guess they kind of assume everyone's going to change the sights. I'd like to know what their excuse is with the trigger, though. Daniel Pennant says, I bet you would change a stick if you carried it. Well, what kind of stick? You're going to have to put a grip wrap on it or something, or harden it, like fire harden it or something. You don't want to just carry a plain old stick. We got one more weigh in here, and then we are done. Says Daniel Pennant says, I hate night sights, prefer not to see at night. Why would you not want to see? It's dark. I mean, it's not like they go pick you out at a distance because of your night sights or something. It's not like you got a weapons light on it. It's not like it's reflected in your face, lighting you up or anything like that. It's one of the things I've seen with some of these big fancy optics before. I've seen them used, and it's like that generates too much light. It's lighting up your face. I can see you, you can't see me. It's like I can see you because I got light, low light, flare, whatever, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, I can see you too without anything because you're right there and your face all lit up. But that was it for tonight, I guess. Thanks everyone for weighing in. I'm going to answer now. And I agree with most everybody here. You don't have to change anything. But if you want it to be a better gun, I'm like, yeah, definitely change the sights. But I think it's even more important to change the trigger because the trigger is just so bad. But I would never carry a striker fired gun. So I'm probably not the best source on this. But yeah, I always change the sights on my Glocks. And if it's going to be a carry gun or a duty gun, I change the trigger because I just don't like them. I might look into those back straps that actually change the grip angle now that I know they exist, because that seems like a pretty cool idea to me. But like I said, you can carry them straight out of the box. You're going to be fine. Well, as fine as you can be carrying striker fired. But sights are nearly essential. Triggers nearly essential also, as far as I'm concerned, if they want to be a better gun. But, like I said, what do I know? And like I said, I think they count on you changing the sights. That's what they've said themselves. That's why they make them with the cheap disposable sights, because they know everyone's going to change them. So even if they think you should change the sights, maybe you should change the sights. But like I said, I'm not the best source for Glock info. But thanks everybody for weighing in. Anyway, how about you out there in YouTube land? What do you think? Let me know in the comments section. If you want to weigh in on one of these topics in person, come to our live chat. We do it every night at 6 p.m. We do this, and then we do the Merc of Guns and Freedom, where you can ask whatever question you want to ask. Just send me an email, and I'll answer it. So come on over for either one of the things we do. I hope to see you at a chat soon. For everybody else who did come, thanks again. I appreciate everything y'all do for the channel, even just keeping the conversation going. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Stay tuned for the Merc of Guns and Freedom. Otherwise, always carry and stay safe until I see you again.